I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCarrot.com. At ShopPayCarrot.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCarrot.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Hey guys, another Kart Chaser Driver Fitness episode with me, Chris G. Today, I'm gonna show you how to protect those ribs in the seat. We're doing core. Exercise number 1 is the bench leg raise. Controlled all the way down, full range of motion. Make sure you pick up that tailbone off the pad. Coming down, controlling. Great for the lower abdomen area and obliques. Floor slider mountain climbers, exercise number 2. Exercise number 3, the plate-loaded decline bench sit-up. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Chris G Coaching, race-ready training that carries into real life. Hey guys, I'm Chris G. I'm Kart Chaser's driver fitness coach, and today I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how to strengthen your shoulders for more endurance and better stability in the kart. Here we go. Okay, so exercise number 1 is the front rope pull-through cable raises. Okay, now, this is the upright cable row. What you are doing here is you're picking a straight bar, as you see, and we're working the side areas of our shoulders, the medial. Exercise number 3, the dumbbell shrugs. As you guys can tell, I like to pause at the top before releasing. It's great for your strength, for that wheel stability. It's great for those shoulders and that upper back area. Chris G coaching, race ready training that carries into real life. That's what we do here. See you on the next one.
Wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix! James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsacek Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsacek, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsacekRacing.com.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Gee, looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tap?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make weight.
Okay, you're good.
Sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out to Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle.
How the f did you just win?
Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all of the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure of the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Your kart class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically for your circuit, or the driver coaching aspects with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and 0 sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Macro Motorsports builds champions every day. Drivers who won on the world stage. The Tilton T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart. It's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop renting, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macromotorsports.net.
Starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my god.
Wait, you guys say you like shopping?
Of course.
Dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCarrot.com. At ShopPayCarrot.com, you can get free shipping orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want. Like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need. All at ShopPayCarot.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Hey guys, another Kart Chaser Driver Fitness episode with me, Chris G. Today, I'm going to show you how to protect those ribs in the seat, working cool. Exercise number 1 is the bench leg raise. Controlled all the way down, full range of motion. Make sure you pick up that tailbone off the pad. Coming down, controlling. Great for the lower abdomen area and obliques.
Floor slider mountain climbers, exercise number 2. Exercise number 3, the plate-loaded incline bench sit-up. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Chris T Coaching, Race Ready Training, and Carry Your Life.
Well, to those of you here in the paddock, to those of you watching on from home, welcome back to the Texas Sprint Racing Series. As always, my name is Caleb Vieska. Alongside me in the booth this weekend, the one and only Justin Prince, as we get ready to go racing. We get ready to go qualifying here to start things off today with our Micro Swift drivers. It's a pleasure to be in beautiful New Orleans here in the state of Louisiana. Just over, I guess, neighbors to us over in the state of Texas, and it's a pleasure to be here. Justin, pleasure to have you with us. I know your last TSRS event was back in Amarillo, but you're back this year for 2026.
Yes, indeed, and this weekend is expected to be an exciting one because this is a racetrack that brings a lot of fast pace, but also is going to be very challenging to competitors. I've already talked with some with the weather over the course of the weekend, bringing some extra challenges for this year's running here at this facility. But a lot of competitors are happy to be here because there are a lot of people that also run TSRS from Louisiana, and plenty of those drivers are made their way to what's essentially the home race.
And that's one of the big things, also one of the big topics talking about the weekend thus far, right? First of all, you touched upon it, and it was the rain. Yesterday we were plagued with some, I guess you could say, uncharacteristic cold weather, cold rain to what we had, especially May, now that we're here in May 2nd today on the Saturday, first day of action. It was very cold, very windy, and very, very rainy, which pretty much canceled half of the day yesterday. The back half, the last practice, a lot of them weren't able to complete that practice session because of how flooded this track was. That being said, a huge shout out to the crew here in New Orleans for doing a great job to clear everything out. They had the blowers as well on the racetrack just now, looking to clear off this corner specifically. Turn 1 has proven to be one of the trickiest spots on this racetrack so far today. And again, I've seen a lot of drivers this morning. A lot of them opted to go with wet tires. I think now we're just at about the transition point for the first time this weekend that we're starting to see drivers go onto the slicks here in qualifying. The majority of the track has dried up. You see the dry line starting to form. The asphalt looks very dry, but there is a couple of corners, like we talked about, turn 1 and a couple of more on this racetrack that still have a lot of standing water on it. So that's tricky to navigate, especially if you're these young kiddos. You're the first qualifying session out there through the chicane, running the full layout for the second year running, this time in the opposite direction. This has been, again, we're excited to see this one race here this weekend, and I'm excited to see how these kids get going so far today. You talked about that, and you talked about the local presence here in New Orleans, right? The Louisiana crowd has been great. They're out here this weekend over at Reed Motorsports last night with a whole crawfish boil, very Louisiana-like, because we're full on in the crawfish season, so it's great to be here this early on into the year here in New Orleans to get things started with the Louisiana vibe, if you will.
Absolutely, and we're chatting with a couple of the drivers that have the Louisiana-based camps for them. A lot of the competitors straight up said they're happy to have the opportunity to race in a series with TSRS because it gives them an opportunity to give a benchmark at the regional/national-ish level when it comes to their pace. A lot of the drivers that run club races in Louisiana, some of them making their debuts actually over the course of this weekend. So for drivers, they're happy to be here and happy to have a chance to race against some of the best here in terms of this region.
Well, here we go. This is qualifying, and they do have 30 seconds left. And as we focus on the on-track action, on-track activity, Shep Sullivan, kid out of Dallas, Texas, currently the fastest in the 212. Dusty Strayer, we've talked a lot about him throughout the national circuit as we've been traveling so far this year on our platform here on Kart Chaser. And Dusty Strayer is leading this pack, but Shep Sullivan in the 212, the Vassar Sullivan Racing Medic Machine is currently fastest. He's second in line. Bodie Byer is second. He's third in line on that CRG for MSL Racing. And this will conclude their qualifying session. Sullivan just looking to close off what would be a pole position to start off the weekend, and Dusty Strayer is going to deny him by 0.03 of a second. Dusty Strayer, last lap, able to put down a burner. He's on the pole with Bodie Byer moving up to second. He had a little bobble out of the chicane. He was still able to go faster than Shep Sullivan. And then Hartford Ellis now coming across the line. No improvement for him on the final lap. He's fourth with Smith, Adrian in the 229. Rounding up your top 5 here, Justin. But Dusty Strayer, the 202 for Trackside Karting Services on the Paralin, on the pole to get this weekend started in a Micro Swift.
Absolutely, and one of the major things, I talked about this with them with that national momentum you were referring to. He said the big thing that's kind of led to that has been his testing in terms of practicing, making sure he was in flow with the kart, and it's really helped out, he felt, to get that extra seat time to prepare for these races, and you see it crossing.
Yeah, well, there you go. Dusty Strayer on the TV cart, but they are set to come out just at the end of the day at 11:02 to conclude our free coverage. And we do have, if you want to watch all the racing action live later on today, don't forget to become a KC Premium member, only $9.99 a month, as long as you do it on a PC or an Android device. If you do it on an iOS device, anything Apple will charge you a little bit extra, which you don't see. It's a fee that they charge themselves. That being said, though, exciting to be here with you all. We're quite on the airwaves. Coming up next, we have more with Mini Swift in a couple of moments. So now the Minis have hit the racetrack for their first session. Brody Stoffel going to lead them away in the class that is presented by the Allen Rudolph Racing Academy. And this weekend, a good number of drivers have joined us here on the Mini Swift side of things. A couple of names that you guys might be familiar with, the likes of Samuel Chavarri, who's racing this weekend with Orsalon, Texas on the Tony Kart, and a couple of more as well will be out here with us. Brody Stoffel, again, racing here with Kart CRG USA. A lot of you may be familiar with him, racing over with the Ryan Perry Motorsports Nitro Kart team across the national circuit. He's with us this weekend as his teammates on the national side are over at the Miami Grand Nationals. 4 events is what we have for you all this weekend. Miami Grand National Championships with the X30 Pro shootout going on tonight. Our very own Xander Clements out there. Great race to watch yesterday as well in the KA Senior shootout. Last night presented by Apex Apparel. Tonight will be presented by the MG Tires. That being said, Tyler Blackwood off the racetrack here to get things started, but more with what we have. It's a quad. We're 4 wide this weekend. We're over at the K1E, or I should say the electrical championships for all the regional champions from the indoor centers, which actually one of our Texas drivers, Grant Mitchell, I should say he's out of Oklahoma. But Grant Mitchell is out there racing, usually races here at the Texas Sprint Racing Series with Reed Motorsports. He's out there. We wish him the best of luck representing the region, the southern region here of Texas. He's out there competing at the K1 championships. Move forward as well with the MCC Club Series that is going green over at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, the beautiful complex that we'll be visiting in a couple of weeks, I should say, just at the end of the month of May. That being said, focusing in on the drivers here, 12 total have joined us here with likes of Samuel Chavarri, Landry Bridges out of Montgomery, Texas with the AR Academy. Ben Blackwood, you saw him go for a spin to get things started, talked about how tricky turn number 1 is, and you saw it there just kind of bite back a little bit to Blackwood. Brody Stoffel, Polo Santos, Atayo Elisa, Joe Yvette, and Marshall Steves, as well as Sebastian Sampson with High Five Performance. 12 drivers total here in this Mini Swift class.
Good turnout to say the very least, and so far looking good if you're Brody Stoffel. Once again, one of the names we see a fair bit towards the top of the boards here on Kart Chaser. Right now, it's pretty clear that CRG hooked up and comfortable. One of the major things, talking with a couple of different teams, they mentioned with the weather, it was the question of, do you go with a rain-focused setup or a dry-focused setup for qualifying? And I think we're seeing some of those differences with some of the airflows we're seeing even in the first couple laps on the tires here. And Stoffel seems to have gone pretty aggressive to make sure this kart was very good, especially with the gearing. And that's one of the critical things. You have to make sure you have the gearing perfect to be able to maximize the speed at such a high-speed racetrack in general, Caleb.
Yeah, this place is, again, has always kept drivers on their toes, right? Stoffel has been here for the last couple of years as Texas Sprint Racing Series has been coming out here. But this track, look, it's very, very long, a lot longer maybe than what we're used to. 16 corners, you know, it's provided with a lot of great passing opportunities, but it makes it that much more important, the exit out of turn 14 all the way at the World's Ramp, where you really need to be fast. You need to dial in the gearing. This section right here where Stoffel's going through, this is going into turn number 9, into turn number 10 here. This is a quick little right-hander and then a left-hander, little S's section that gets you through. And you see how left-hander, little S's section that gets you through. And you see how aggressive he is over the curbs, up and over. And this track, after speaking with a good number of drivers, this track is one of the more aggressive one lines. Those curbs can be very violent at times, but you have to use them to your advantage to try and get a good enough run out of turn number 14 into turn 15, which on the run of the start-finish straight, you see Stoffel with a great lap that time by to get himself through, and he's going to give himself through, and he's going to give himself an extra lap. I'm not sure if anybody else in the group is going to get it. 5 seconds, closing out, and they're done. Nobody else going to have an extra lap, and nobody else going to go better than Stoffel, who's going to have an extra one, and he's on the second clear of this field. Chivalry's the next closest one, and he's in field. Chivalry's the next closest one, and he's in second. About a second back. Then a Steve, Santos, Jolivet, and Stoffel. Again, with the experience already being here the last couple years, last year this layout is very similar, if not the same. I'd have to look back to last year's track map, Justin, with as many races as we've seen since then. But again, a great lap out of Stoffel, and we're going to follow him for another one here.
Yes, indeed. Perfect run so far, and kind of shows the expectations for some of these teams camp-wise, where they expect the speed to be in. For some of these teams camp-wise, where they expect the speed to be in. Stoffel.
They've done as good of a job to try and keep this as smooth as possible for drivers, but that is, it gives it character, right?
Yes.
We, you know, if you look back to the Circuit of the Americas a couple of years ago when Formula One was going back, and a lot of the drivers talked about how bumpy the racetrack was, it gives it character, right? It makes it unique. It makes it one of a kind. And again, they've since, you know, grinded down some of the bumps that was America's on the, you know, FIA grade circuit where you see Formula One go year round. That being said, this place has a lot of character. This is New Orleans, this is Louisiana, and it's going to give us some great racing action as we saw last year and as we're expecting to see this year. And that was huge for Stoffel with Dutch Westbrook over at the Miami Grand Nationals this weekend. He was able to get the win leading this championship in the Mini Swift division. Mace Lasek is second. Max Santana not joining us here this weekend. He's third. And Stoffel coming in for a good points haul. And if nobody finds an answer for Stoffel this weekend, that is best case scenario for the driver looking to take another championship. We saw how dominant he was last year in micro, looking to back it up this year. Again, was originally out of Houston, Texas. They're just in the process of moving. Been very, very busy this year for the Stoffel family traveling around. But coming up next, the T4 seniors for their second ever qualifying session here at the Texas Sprint Racing Series.
Welcome back, everyone, to qualifying for today. TSRS here from Louisiana. The Tillotson T4 seniors are now on the racetrack, and these Karts get to this season as well one of the major things when it comes to T4 racing, especially what we've seen for comparison with the Florida Karting Championship. Good comparison is that these karts are usually spec'd in the way there is a small window where you can adjust. You have a set gear ratio that you normally would get. Puts together some interesting racing, a little less power band for the straights, but you can see some drivers with the corners getting bounced around already.
Reagan Seville went for a wild ride there to start off this qualifying session. 9 drivers joining us here for the second race of T4 Senior, and it's a complete different list of names than what we've seen, or than what we saw really at the opening round. We saw the likes of David Aya take part. John Paul Milchiori was out there as well, racing at Speedsportz Racing Park. Seville, one of the, Seville, Doug Foxworth, as well as Davis Henry looking to be some of the only ones that have joined us here for round number 2 that took part of round 1. There's a couple that are out here. Wargo's joining us. We talked about that kid out of Louisiana on the great year he started in senior racing action. Caught everybody by surprise in 4-cycle racing when he was able to win over in Jacksonville to start off the Winter Nationals at the Kid Karts North America. Great way to kick off his 4-cycle season, taking a national win there. And driving it home here this weekend in the state of Louisiana, really, for him. With a couple of more. Eric Cuesto is joining us here with Motaz Sport, Doug Foxworth, Davis Henry. We talked about the kid out of Wichita, Kansas. He's under Trackside Karting Services for the weekend. Ted Norman, Luca Reina, as well as Jonathan Graves and Tristan Gonzalez. That's who we have. And we have a couple out of Florida joining us. Tampa, Florida, Bradenton, Florida, Gulfport, Missouri. All over the place where we have drivers from the south coming us. Missouri's only just right above us, really, or Mississippi. My apologies. Yep. Mississippi, goodness gracious, that's joining us here this week. Mississippi, Missouri, MS, whichever state goes by that. There's 50 of them. It's been a while since I've recited my 50-state song. That being said, a good number from all around the region joining us here, the southern region, if you will, joining us here for the second round of the Texas Racing Series here, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, when calling this over in Florida in terms of style of racing, the T4 chassis and motors, they are definitely entertaining in the way that you see some protective battles. It's a little bit more in terms of what you would see in cornering speed compared to, say, a 206. For reference, out in Florida, for those who fought along with Kart Chasers coverages over there, those karts got grouped together in some circumstances, and you'd have it upwards of 15 seconds on the racetrack over the course of a 12-minute race. So they carry a fair amount of torque to them, especially how much they carry on apex speed. And as a result, these drivers are going to have some interesting battles, I think, pertaining to who we see up in the front today. Right now, things are looking good, though. In particular, if you're a fan of Wargo, one of those who runs the national scene, continuing on well in qualifying, right now 3/10 up to start off the session with a couple minutes to go.
From Wargo here on this racetrack, and again, Seville led this field out, Justin, and ever since hasn't really been able to match the pace out of the 501 here. And that was a heartbreaking end, I must say, to the opening round for Seville when we were over at Speedsportz Racing Park. You talk about what could have been, you talk about winning a ticket over to Spain at the end of the year. It ended just that little bit too early for him. Halfway through that race with a mechanical DNF. And now Wargo, it's going to be a big ask for Seville to go better on this final lap. What does Wargo do? Does he improve? 1:11.5, does he go faster? He doesn't. Seville across the line, he improves. Not enough though, only a 1:12.1. Couple of more crossing now. Nobody's going to go better than the 501. Derek Wargo at home puts it on the pole in T4 Seniors. Seville second, Cuesto third, Henry, and then Reina, your top 5 here in T4 Senior.
Hey guys, I'm Chris G. I'm Kart Chaser's driver fitness coach, and today I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how to strengthen your shoulders for more endurance and better stability in the kart. Here we go. Okay, so exercise number 1 is the front rope pull-through cable raises. Okay, now, this is the upright cable row. What you are doing here is you're picking a straight bar, as you see, and we're working the side areas of our shoulders, the medial. Exercise number 3, the dumbbell shrugs. As you guys can tell, I like to pause at the top before releasing. It's great for your strength, for that wheel stability. It's great for those shoulders and that upper back area. Chris G coaching, race-ready training that carries into real life. That's what we do here. See you on the next one.
Well, it's time for our youngest stars to hit the racetrack now with the 206 Kid Karts presented by GR2 Motorsports. 75 of Maverick Reddick gonna lead this field out. Sullivan Beaudois is going out second in line with Anderson Maxwell, Beckett Boudreau, Grayson Hollis, Dallas Broussard. Those are your top 6 in the championship there to coming into this weekend. And we have 12 drivers total joining us here. Jax McCullum, Dallas Broussard, Ian Chaparro. We talked about Sullivan, Santiago Salazar, Xander Lorang, Guillermo Montes, one of the new entries here this weekend with HRT Motorsports out of Mexico. Kyle Bird, Beckett Boudreau, Grayson Hollis, and Anderson Maxwell, the 12 drivers we have here this weekend. And Kid Kart, one of them going for a spin, and I think that might be Beaudois there on the 19 CRG for Reed Motorsports, looking to get himself turned around. Smart by him, let the whole field go by, then when it's clear to go, you turn around. That was very smart there out of Sullivan to get himself back going. That being said, into this weekend, the championship led by the 75 of Reddick. He was phenomenal. He was flawless out at Speedsportz Racing Park to kick off the action here this year. Beaudois actually qualified on the pole, and with this weekend being a home race for himself and his older brother Aiken here in the state of Louisiana, looking to get himself a good result, maybe one spot better on the podium there for Sullivan. He qualified pole at Speedsportz, won the 3rd of the heat races, and now looking to back up with another great result here at home for Sullivan. But also a good number of drivers calling this place home from the state of Louisiana. We talked about Dallas Broussard, he's out of Lafayette, as well. Beckett Boudreau's here out of Louisiana, and then a couple of more of the rest, with a couple from Tennessee, Oklahoma, and then the good contingent out of Texas, as we've always talked about, where this series is normally based here, Dustin.
Yes, indeed, and we know for certain, though, based on what we see, Maverick Reddick is also one of the drivers we see just dominating a lot of circumstances when it comes to young classes, raced in a lot of different series this year, nationally and regionally, after all. And Reddick last time out did pull away 8+ seconds. Now the thing is today, will we see anybody else get a response to that when it comes to this racetrack? Reddick, after all, with the qualifying session, seems to have the pattern down at least. But who else do you feel will rise among some of these youngsters here this weekend? Because we know they're going to have a lot of on-throttle time in general here at this track.
Yeah, this track is pretty much flat out for the entirety of it. This track is very long for these kiddos. They're flat out pretty much for the whole time, really. They're just now crossing the line for what is the start of their first lap. What's the start of their first really flying lap. That first one, again, everybody's just really tiptoeing around, but times come in. It's a 1:31 for Reddick. Everybody else is in the 1:36s, 1:35s. They're about. And again, only opening lap with 2 together here. That looks to be the 8 of Jax McCullum, and then the high 5. I think that could have been Xander Lorang in the 31. He's currently 6th overall in his Kid Kart class. But again, times aren't relative yet. That was the outlap. This one is the one that matters here for a lot of these youngsters. And Reddick will be the first one across the line to put down that first lap. But again, you talk about these Kid Karts, the limited power that they have on that 206 engine with the restricted, and so on and so forth. Being Kid Kart, it takes a while to put a lap in here at NOLA because of how big this track is. So realistically, you see the time there on the left-hand side of your screen just running out with 30 seconds to go now, officially. It takes a while to get through this place. And 30 seconds to go, I don't know if anybody else is going to be able to put in an extra lap. Reddick sets in his first one, which is a 1:32.1. We'll see if anybody else could go better. And Reddick's opening lap. Chaparro now puts down a lap. He's up to second, a 1:34.730. Brassard gets close. 8/10 back in second. There goes Maxwell across the line. The 99 is up to second, a 1:32.451. So the time's starting to come in. Checkered flag is out for a couple. Boduak crosses, only 7th. Salazar, Halberd, and they're just further back in this field. I think Reddick might have been the only one that is getting an extra one here, Justin. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, just again, starting off strong, staying strong. Maxwell seems to be in a solid space, though, in regards to what we'll see here for today for this big racetrack for these Kid Karts. But some of the others, it's about gaining experience, right? That's the major thing in terms of what we expect here at this age. We talk about it everywhere because for a lot of drivers, it's trying to get some experience, some seat time, because when they move up the ranks, it's going to get harder and harder and harder as they learn. And you have to start off in terms of these karts in particular at a place where you can learn the speed and better yet adapt to that speed, because if you don't have the sense of, say, what it feels like in a kart to go fast, it's hard to immediately jump into, say, the next class and then immediately start off strong.
Well, that was a big improvement there out of Reddick. Last time around, he does get the checkered, a 1:31.8, and I think a couple might have gotten an extra one. Checkered flag is out for the second group. They're going to have one more, so here they go across the line. Can anybody go faster than the 75? Boudreaux's only up to 3rd. Brassard doesn't improve. Maxwell, nothing. Hollis can't go better than Reddick. Only down in 5th, and that does it. Maverick Reddick on the pole position. The 75 picking up right where he left off at Speedsportz Racing Park to start off this championship. Reddick on the pole in 206 Kid Kart, presented by GR2. The always exciting K8 100 juniors are now on to the racetrack for their qualifying session this weekend. A good number joining us here, 22 total from all around are with us here for the second round of regional racing action here at the Texas Sprint Racing Series. We talk about the usuals, the locals, the familiar faces with the likes of Aston Wyatt, as well as Emmett Eddles, Theo Mitchell, Mason Berry, Luke Cruz, Mia Johnson, Tyrone Kemper Jr. List goes on and on and on of names that we've seen so far this year that are joining us here once again for the second round. But again, you look back to previous years, you look back to the last 2 years, realistically, of this championship in K8 Junior. It's been all about Tyrone Kemper Jr. And it's all started here. It started here 2 years ago when he won the championship. He was able to win in a dominant fashion at home for Tyrone Kemper Jr. Last year, I'd have to refresh myself on my memory of how that one ended. But at round number 1, it was Nathan Golseth taking the win. He's over in North Carolina this weekend at the Miami Grand National Championships, looking to race this week over in K8 Junior this weekend. Not sure if he's doing double duty, but he raced in the shootout last night, the All-Star race for the juniors. He currently finds himself top of the championship chart after the conclusion of round number 1. This will be his drop, this 5-round championship having a drop available to all of its drivers. And Golseth's going to have to take it with a no-show this weekend. Barry's currently second. That was a great result for him. Aston Wyatt as well finished third. Kemper only 5th at the end or coming into the weekend, needing a good result here at home for Tyrone Kemper Jr., who is out there further back in the field. This pack is led by Aston Wyatt. Then you go back to Cruz Rodriguez and a couple more that are single file line there. One of the Arcanes. One of the, looks like High Five, or I believe that might be one of the HRT machines joining us here this weekend. That being said, though, to the top of the leaderboard, Tyrone Kemper Jr. Surprised? Not really. Barry's currently second.
7 tenths up, make it 8 plus tenths up already. Kemper Jr. immediately flying on the opening lap. That's kind of what we've seen, though, whenever he's raced, whether it's been here on the West Coast, whether he's appeared here in TSRS, in terms of some of the races on here on the East Coast. Kemper Jr. in particular has a strong mindset to focus on the racetrack and usually finds himself on pace. But some of the others, like Styles, and some of the others like Houston Cox, going to be interesting to watch for amongst this in this order, because some of the drivers I did speak with who are racing amongst this level, expecting things to be uber competitive in particular. For example, the Reed Motorsports camp, Kemper Jr. amongst that group, they're expecting upwards of 10 of their drivers in the 206s alone to have a chance to contend for race wins, at least 2 per class for reference.
And it gives them double the track time, right? And you talk about how important these warm-up sessions are. After the warm-up this morning, I was down there pretty much for the entirety of the morning, down on grid, before these drivers were getting ready to go out, speaking to some of the dads, mechanics, team owners, team drivers as well. And speaking to Sean Wyatt, Aston's father this weekend, and mechanic, whatever you want to call it, crew chief, racing under the AR Academy. But they found an issue with the carburation in Aston Wyatt's K8 100 senior package this morning. Said they only did 3 laps, 2 laps, and then it died, which that's what these warm-up sessions are for, right? You go out there, you find those problems, and then you try to adjust, you try to fix, you try to manage, and they had to do a whole carburation rebuild on that carburetor this morning to get it ready for qualifying. And you come in with really an unknown as to what you're going to experience the next time you hit the racetrack. That being said, the speed, not there yet for Wyatt. He's currently 10. Kemper Jr. is 9th. And you go all the way to the top. Nico Orbezo is fastest. And I spoke too soon. Tyrone Kemper Jr. in the 834. Fastest of them all by just about a tenth and a half. A 105.292 to get things started. Only 4 seconds left on this qualifying session. Make or break here in K8 Junior as we get ready to wrap up qualifying.
Yeah, right now you have to find something, anything to be able to gather things up. And right now, thinking about some of the various drivers, Jackson Baldus, for example, one of the drivers was 1 second off and mentioned in the 76 camp. They're expecting to step up in qualifying because they're quick when it was misting out yesterday with the rainy conditions. They're looking a little bit further down. I think they may be expecting the high 5 camp. Some of the various team members pulling some of the drivers around, like Barry. Barry's been good, but right now, Kemper Jr.'s time is holding up here as they come to the checkered flag.
And I think he's going to get an extra one. Here we go. Styles across the line. He moves up to 7th. Mason Berry only 4th. Easton Cox is up to 3rd. Orbezo didn't go better on the final lap. Tanner Barsh into the top 10. Kemper Jr. doesn't improve on the final time around. Can anybody go better than the hometown kid, the 834? Anybody? No. I don't think so here, Justin. Tyrone Kemper Jr. in the home state of Louisiana here in New Orleans puts it on the pole position in K.A. Jr. What a way to get things started off for Tyrone Kemper Jr. as we follow along with Easton Cox around the last couple of corners before going to the back straightaway. He was only 3rd on that final lap. And this is quick turnarounds. You talk about the out lap and you only have 4 laps, maybe even less than that, to put down a lap, and it makes it that much more important to get things started, to get things kicked off on the right foot here this weekend. And Kemper Jr. did just that. Fastest of them all to close off the qualifying by 1/10 and a half. He's going to have the best seat in the house going into all 3 of the heat races here. But coming up next, the 206 seniors, the 2nd largest class with us here this weekend. So great to watch some great 4-cycle racing action with these 206s here this weekend. This has been, again, what a year with new stories, new names up at the top, and that all goes back to Houston where Carter Kilgo was able to win for the AR Academy at home. 27 total here with us this weekend for round number 2.
Yeah, a ton of drivers here onto the track, and it should be uber competitive as a result when you have an entry list like this in this class. These drivers in particular have stayed well focused up, and was talking with some of the competitors after all that competed with what was the biggest class when we were over in the last round as well when it was 31. These drivers expect this to be very fast once again, but for the most part, it's going to be, I think, one of those types of races where you need track position yet again amongst the seniors if you want to perform with some of the best that also perform at the national level too here at Caleb, making their appearances here today in TSRS.
Yeah, this is big, and a couple of returning faces here for the Texas Sprint Racing Series. Look, we talked a lot about the Louisiana base here. Dustin, or my apologies here. Well, Cameron Reed, we'll talk about her a little bit. Reed Motorsports, she's the leader of that operation here this weekend. It's my apologies. Braden Domain is currently rejoining us here this weekend. Talked to, a lot to Braden last night. We were over with Reed Motorsports enjoying the crawfish boil, which Braden was actually one of the main chefs down there yesterday. But that being said, he's returning this weekend, which is something that he's not. We saw him throughout the year last year and in years prior as well, racing with us. But this year's a return, and he's been busy working, graduated from high school, now moving through the ranks, and having a job now, and now funding his own racing out here this weekend, only just by himself, wrenching on his stuff with Cameron Reed, and good to have him back. We talk about this opportunity, right? Returning faces, and speaking of him last night, if I'm going to return, if I'm going to come back and race, this is going to be the one when it comes to home, and he's done just that. Himself and Cameron grew up together, went to elementary school together, and now racing together here at home, looking to lead their operation forward to try and get a win at home. And we talked about how close Cameron was as well last year. She was fastest on the racetrack. The start didn't go her way, but after it was all said and done, having and putting together some good results, but looking to still get that first win here at the Texas Sprint Racing Series. But right behind these three, Jackson Young's leading this pack, is the winner from round number 1, Carter Kilgo. We talked about his progression and how we've seen him kind of go up through the ranks and move himself out to a front runner now with the AR Academy. He comes into this weekend leading the championship. But after lap number 1, it's Cameron Reed who's leading this field in the qualifying session. The 619 up a 10th on Kilgo, then a Frank, then to Kraus, Domain, Young, and more. It's all going to continue to change as this session goes on. Paul Braden, Reagan Seville putting in some laps here on lap number 1, but this is really when we get into it now. Justin, lap number 1 getting underway, and they're only going to get faster. Lap number 4, that's been the money lap here.
Yes, indeed. That's been right where I've noticed the tire pressure's gone up, especially lap 3 per se for a lot of some of the hours so far in terms of when that performance band has really capsulated so far. We mentioned drivers like Kyoko just had GHRS competition race a couple weeks ago, went there, raced in various other series, have done well with Kart Moto. Kyoko's had some good momentum in terms of the club scene, in terms of regional scenes as well. Looking to back that up together, but look how Reed is working together well with the fellow CRGs in this pack, staying in sync, looking to stay up on the momentum here as they'll come up to probably will be a couple laps to go here based on the time. Reed gonna get shuffled because Kilgo gets the better time.
Well, here we go, Carter Kilgo backing it up here to start off this qualifying session. We talked about Seville. He's been great in mixed conditions. He's been great here in NOLA as well throughout the years. And he's currently now moving up the order. It's up to second, or actually up to the top for Reagan Seville. Kilgo's second. Then a Reed, Domain, Frank, Young, Zing, Samuel Young, Peyton McDonough, who's joining us here this weekend. A return to the seat for him as well for Peyton, long time away. He's back this weekend at home. And then to Rafael Kraus, who's rounding up your top 10. But this one, 30 seconds to go. It's going to be close whether or not they get a good lap, and it's important for these two with a champion in Frank and a returning face to Kelvin Zing, still looking for that first championship. We'll see who gets an extra one, who doesn't. I think they will. The majority of them will here, Justin, with 10 seconds to go. And indeed, what are the changes now? Kilgo to the top. Young to second. And they're all getting shuffled here. Reed is fourth, Domain fifth, Seville back to sixth. And I think this might be it for Reagan Seville. And it is. He's crossing the line now. He's not going to get an extra lap. Luckily for him, though, he gets himself up the order just a little bit more. Not going to be enough, though. This group here is fighting. Not going to help this last lap.
No, that, if anything, Caleb, as we both know, will hold you up with that lap when you have a side-by-side moment like that. I think that might absolutely cost Reed in particular. Some of the sends we're seeing once again. Yeah, another one right there.
Yeah, this one's going to be a throwaway for the majority of this group, and I think Carter Kilgo just going to get held up here, if anything. Just needs him to stay in line here for this final lap to try and keep himself up at the top. But luckily for him, though, the two other drivers that were closest to him, they were battling for the majority of this lap, so we'll see across the line. This is really it here. Anybody going better? Nope, not even Kilgo. But that's enough for Carter Kilgo to put himself on the pole. You talk about a breakout victory at Speedsportz Racing Park. Coming back at round number 2 when it might be pressure to back it up to show it's not a fluke and to put yourself on the pole, that's a great result out of Carter Kilgo. They are Academy back on top here into 06 Senior, presented by Kart Racing Solutions. Kilgo, best seat in the house, going into heat racing action later on today.
Gee, looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tag?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make way. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle.
did you just win?
Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
It's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
You know, I'm really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my god.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCarrot.com. At ShopPayCarrot.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCarot.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Well, the action continues here from New Orleans as the 206 cadets have now made their way out onto the racetrack. They're just getting ready to kick off their qualifying session to decide where they're going to get this one started before we go into heat racing action later on today. Heat 1 and 2, what we have on the schedule here today. And then tomorrow, heat race number 3 and into the main events. That's a change from what we saw at the opening championship with the option to run the entire layout here. And again, having to reopen the rental track side where I'm sure we might be able to get in some in-track experience here, Justin, ourselves maybe a little bit later on today. And I'm sure people around the paddock as well. Great facility out here. There's some mini golf going on with some putting over there, as well as a rental track side and everything, you know, screams a great environment here this weekend as well. There's an event going on later on today, a rally race with a kart stand. The chance to win a RLV kart stand is in play here, I believe, either during the lunch break or after the conclusion of heat race number 2. B, attempt everything on Facebook for the Texas Racing Series, as well as the Discord. For those of you here at home or even here this weekend in the paddock, realistically, you should be in the Discord. That's where everything is, all the information is. So make sure to join that. Find the QR codes around the paddock as well. That being said, though, 206 Cadet getting things kicked off here. Their qualifying session underway. So here we go. Laps already starting to come in for this one. That opening lap was not enough for anybody. This time is going to be realistically the first time that we see lap time start to populate on our timing pylon to get things started. But this class, 206 Cadet, has been growing year after year. 19 total have joined us here this weekend.
Very sizable, to say the very least, and you have some of the competitors with some overlap from previous runnings, making some appearances or new stuff. You have Stoffel once those on the board once again. Just talking with Vargas, they felt very confident with their racing experience here in particular in multiple different classes. You also have some of those just trying to make their debuts once again. Let's talk with a couple competitors in that regard that are looking to move up to the higher competition levels to try and gain experience against drivers with compared to running just the club races in Louisiana. So a lot of drivers attracted to come out here yet again. No surprise, Strayer continuing to back up with that testing experience we referred to, and right now is pulling away on the board, at least to start off with a couple of minutes to go. Right now already up by almost 2/10 again.
Yeah, it's a good lap out of Strayer, and we talked about it, right? A lot of these kids that are doing that double duty, that are doing either a micro or a mini class and coming into 206 Cadet, this adds track time, which you touched on it a little earlier today, right? It's so important to just get seat time, seat time, seat time. Whenever you're in this age of developing, of getting better, of improving, of learning everything that goes in to racing, period, right? The more that you're out there on the racetrack, the more that you're behind the wheel, the more that your foot's on the throttle, that's important, right? To learn, to go out there and experience different things. And that's why you see these kids, right, in the top 5. The majority of them up there. One of them is out. That's Cohen Scott in the 292 on his Kart Republic. He's out of this race early. Not going to be able to get going with a mechanical DNF. That is going to close this one off for him early. He's going to have a lot of work to do starting back from, it's going to be 19th in this one as he wasn't able to get going. But you look at the timing pylon, Stoffel is at the top. That last lap was, again, fastest of them all. Drew Blem is second to Strayer, to Mikey Todd, Marshall Steves. That's your top 5. Haswell, Sampson, Vargas, Anderson, and Hayden Sampson are inside of the top 10. Stoffel going to move over, and that is very tactical out of Stoffel. Looks like he's trying to move over. I'm not sure. Difference in line there in between these three. They're going at it, keeping us on our toes. And I think indeed he was trying to move over and let them pass. He's now going to get himself to 3rd. And the draft at this place so important with that long straightaway, long run from 14 to 15.
Yeah, you get such a pull as a result, especially in these packages. You'll see a bit more of the KA where it's a bit of a 6/10 gap in terms of draft. What 206 is, We know draft is important to gain momentum in particular. And look at that, Stoffel again has the buffer regardless here. Can he build upon that here? I don't know. He had a bit of a slow up initially when he was originally coming across the stripe there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they got the checkered or not that time around. I think they did. So with that said, it should be Stoffel on the pole. Again, second one for him on the day. So second pole position on the day for Brody Stoffel. They just lost that little bit of time, or actually they didn't. So two more are going to cross the line here. That's going to be Drew Blem. Drew Blem's going to cross first. He's going to have an extra lap. Then Steve's right behind him. Do they go better? Last time around, they improve. Not enough to deny Stoffel from the pole. Blem, Steves, they improved and put it at 0.04 of a second here, Justin. But the 229 stays on top, stays at the front in 206 Cadet.
Once again, Stoffel's lap previous was the one that set the tone there. That one that he set up on the second time around because of all the squabbling in the third and fourth. But everybody else setting up some solid position yet again. The top 5 separated by just 0.5 of a second. The top 3 within 48 1,000ths of a second. It's razor thin margins already.
Very, very fine margins. Pick up underway to recover Cohen Scott and his wounded machine. KA Masters getting ready to go out. Only 3 classes remain here for our free coverage. You're watching Kart Chasers live action for the Texas Sprint Racing Series. We're live from New Orleans.
Cat food marketing.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. We're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and 0 sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarscak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarscak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarscakRacing.com.
Macron Motorsports builds champions every day. Drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart. It's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macronmotorsports.net.
Kicking back right now as the KA100 Masters hit the racetrack, brought to the I-5. Right now, the competitors looking to see where their qualifying efforts put them. I'm Justin Prince, Gail Viesca, of course, on the call here this weekend as we get set to see where things shuffle. Still on the warm-up, so to speak, to build up the times. We get onto the board here. Keep in mind, this season we've seen some uber competitive battling so far in a variety of series, and today we'll find out who's got the edge here. Right now, these KA100 Masters staying together in a pack, so to speak here, Caleb. We talked about the importance of draft, and for the most part, it's not splitting apart like you see at some other tracks. It's staying into these bigger packs right now to set the tone for where they're going to set up in qualifying for the most part, except for the two-car breakaway up front.
Yeah, 2 cars up front. Pierce Baldus up there, Daniel Howie up there. And no surprise, they're leading this field away. So with that opening lap, we talked about how big that opening lap is, right? Getting everything up to temperature. And you're really exiting the scales and you're not crossing the line realistically. So you only have 3 laps around this place to get yourself going. That being said, we talk a lot about the regional and the local knowledge around this place. They're going to have it. Dex Nakan currently on the 469. He's leading this field away. He's out of Louisiana, home of Louisiana. Janae Din joining us here this weekend wasn't out and joining us at round number 1. Himself and his son, Ibrahim, were fasting throughout the week. And again, it was hard for them to do both at the same time, come out here and race. They opted to stay at home in Dallas and joined us this year for round number 2. Good to have Janaid and Ibrahim back, who's going to be racing in the headliner later on in the KA Senior Division. That being said, Pierce Baldus back this weekend in the 476. Talked about the High Five Performance Machine, how competitive he's been throughout the years. Back-to-back champion in the division. Won last year, and again, won the year before that as well in his opening championship run at the Texas Sprint Racing Series. Miguel Mir finished 2nd, and I got to look back to 2024 if that was indeed correct. Again, everything blends together, Justin, whenever it's been a couple of years. And yeah, indeed, 2 years in a row, Pierce Baldus getting the better of Miguel Mir, the 7-time Texas Regional Champion, back when it was known as the Texas Pro Kart Challenge and now into the Texas Sprint Racing Series. But Baldus currently fastest with Burkett in 2nd, another local here to New Orleans, up just south of Baton Rouge, where Shane Burkett resides. And a lot of them just calling New Orleans home here this weekend. The first time that they have a race here in Louisiana here at NOLA Motorsports Park.
Yeah, and right now we're seeing, I think, how competitive things are going to be with the top 3 again, within 58 1,000, setting the tone right now. Good to see when amongst those here. Oh, looks like we had some trouble in the background, yeah.
Howie's off. Looks like Pierce Baldus as well is on that front stretch. He's slowing, and Burkett's looking over his shoulder and just asking what happened to the 419 and what happened to the reigning champ and Pierce Baldus. These two are out. 2 of the High Five, again, affiliate teams, High Five Performance Texas and the operation based out of Oklahoma. They're both out of this session early. Not sure if there was, I don't even know. I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but wow.
Yeah, I see at the back of my eye there in terms of some of that where I can't tell if there was contact or if there was an off-track initially. Again, a tough situation. Obviously going to hurt them a little bit in terms of the efforts need to be put through the lunch break right now. They've got the qualifying position. It's the matter of can they get to the tech lane through the scales, if you will, without any issues after a situation like that. The rest of the drivers, though, we'll see if anything, if they'll get the flag or not.
Burkett had an extra lap. He's not going to take it. Whoever's behind him, I think that might be Nakan. Or Nakan, my apologies. He might have one. Miguel Mir, no better. Final lap. Mir only 5th. Din 6th. To Tam Nguyen, Curtis Terry, Stephen Hesser, Keithan Hutchins. Your top 10. Then to John Robichaux. But on the pole position, Shane Burkett out of Baton Rouge puts it on the pole position by a 1/10 of a second. Baldus and Howie not crossing the line. has given it to the 442, who's on the pole here for all three of the heat races. You see him there standing by with the cup that's awarded to all the fast lap qualifiers. And again with Mrs. Kayla Johnson. For those of you here in the paddock, you want to order your pictures, reach out to Studio 52 where they have all the event pictures, the official event photographers, Ken and Kayla Johnson, providing you all the angles of and all the moments of the on-track activities for all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And those you get those pictures nightly, actually, every night. You get them right in your email. Very, very efficient and beneficial if you want to make, we know how big social media is growing nowadays. If you want to get yourself out there, promote yourself a little bit, best way to do it, order your photos today at Studio 52. But that is it for KA Masters, presented by the High Five Performance, and their two front gunners are out of qualifying early. One of the big stories. See if they can get that fixed up. Coming up next, though, 206 Junior in a couple of moments.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure of the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspects with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney, Turney in the dirt.
Hey guys, another Kart Chaser Driver Fitness episode with me, Chris G. Today, I'm gonna show you how to protect those ribs in the seat. We're doing core. Exercise number 1 is the bench leg raise. Controlled all the way down, full range of motion. Make sure you pick up that tailbone off the pad. Coming down, controlling. Great for the lower abdomen area and obliques. Floor slider mountain climbers, exercise number 2. Exercise number 3, the plate loaded decline bench sit up. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Chris G Coaching, race ready training that carries into real life. That's what we do.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com.
Well, 206 Junior now onto the racetrack to set their starting order for the 3 heat races coming up later on in the weekend. Heat race 1 and 2 just after the lunch break, getting kicked off today. Just at about noon, 12:18 when Micro Swift goes green for their 6 minutes plus 2 laps of heat racing action. And then it's all concluded at the end of the day today with heat race number 2 at about 4:30. And that's perfect turnaround to go and watch the X30 Pro Shootout at the Miami Grand National Championships. We're 4 wide this weekend here on our platform on Kart Chaser. And don't miss any of the action because it's going to be exciting for sure, Justin. But again, only 2 heat races here today. If you want to watch that, only $9.99 a month. Become a KC Premium member today and watch all the racing action live from coast to coast. Quite literally, we're on the West Coast with the K1E World Championships, as well as on the East Coast with the Miami Grand National Championships. Don't want to miss any of that here this weekend, Justin.
Don't forget those at MCC as well.
Yeah. Up in the Midwest, up at MCC. We're down here near the Gulf. So we'll watch some great racing action. That being said, though, one of these drivers with a heavily wounded left-hand side pod, you could almost call it the door, if you will, of the kart, is just up in the air. You see it there. That's CRG. That's 322 there, Justin. And that's Jensen Willender. For Skeptic this weekend, he puts himself currently up the order. He's 8th. It's not hurting him at all. It looks like Caleb Roberts is right behind him, or Dean Gearier, my apologies, in 311 is right behind him. But goodness.
I mean, the instance we were talking about yesterday when it came to Miami Grand, seeing some of the side pods completely blown off the side of the carts. I'm surprised it's still running. I don't know how that's going to work out on these speed scales, but obviously not hurting the pack per se.
Well, it's not detached, right? So,
yes.
So that's, again, within the rule book, within the regulations. Okay. If it comes loose, if it comes off, then it's a safety issue where you will be meatball flagged. That being said, though, aesthetically, maybe not the best.
Right.
If you know, quite interested to hear how that happened for Dean to get this one sorry, not for Dean. For Jensen, who's currently 11th on the racetrack. That being said, we look at the top here. This session currently is topped by Nico Orbezo, then a Chandler, then a Styles, then an Aston Wyatt. And I think they are just nearing the end here. Don't think anybody except for these two on your screen got an extra lap, and that's Sawyer Chambers. We've seen how fast he's been all throughout this year. Levi Meters right there with him. Checkered flag out this time by for these two. Can any of them go better? Can any of them go to the top over Orbezo? And neither of them improve. The rest of the pack is into the pits, and that does it. Nico Orbezo is going to be on the pole position here today. 1:13.1. And just hundredths of a second better than Iron Rock Motorsports teammate and Alex Chandler. Styles in 3rd. How about an Iron Rock Motorsports 1, 2, 3 to get this one kicked off? Then a Wyatt, then a Levi Meter, only 5th, and then 6th for Sawyer Chambers, the last two to cross the line there.
The funny thing is with the Meter and Chambers part, they were dead even on the best time, was just pointing out. 1:13.810. That kind of shows they're pretty much equal in terms of their draft ability. Would not be surprised to see maybe what they think of working together since they're already in sync on lap times. Why not see if they stay in sync to gain up some track position?
Yeah, why not, right? Always good to have a buddy when you're racing out here at the New Orleans Motorsports Park. This track is one of the lengthier ones on the schedule. 16 corners, very high speed. So we'll see. We'll see what it gives. We'll see what it gives us here, and we'll also see what these KA100 seniors give us here in a couple of moments. This is the headliner on the weekend. And again, coming into this round, it's been all about one driver who caught everybody by surprise. Had to wait for